Yo, welcome back to the streams. I think we just have one person here at the moment, but we're going to be starting in about 10 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Hello, Keel. Hello, Moroccan producers. Is that multiple people watching, or is it just one person? Skirt, hello. It's your channel. Makes sense. Welcome back to the Zoom, boys. We got Connor and Tom at the moment. 5 people on the live streams. Just gonna wait for another about 7.5 minutes for a couple more people to join, and then we'll get started, guys. When you're getting the trader progress sheet, whenever I have time to finish it. It has made 0 progress since I last showed it to you guys. Mainly because my entire my Monday to Friday is completely booked. Like literally I would say it's booked from like 8:30 or 8 when I wake up, right, and I get ready for work, all the way back to all the way down to about 11:30, which is when the live stream ends, and I have I would say probably all of that time is completely booked, right, and I have half an hour for lunch or dinner or whatever. So I'll try to get it out when I can, but realistically, it's not going to be 2023. I reckon maybe 2024, so we'll see. Yeah, welcome back, Connor. Haven't seen you in a while. Don't know why you were on the YouTube live for no reason. But yeah, welcome back. A couple people joining. Welcome, everyone. But Zach as well, that trader's progress sheet is not going to be, it's going to be for EvolutionDVS for now, for the near future. Yeah, today's sales after breaking the highs was called on the stream. Yeah, I think what we kind of said, right, was you break the highs and then there's like a level below here, which is then valid for you to start coming down. Yeah, we just took the sells, right? It's basically the same trade that I was looking for last night, right? Same thing. You break the highs, you come down. Like suddenly, some of these levels are now valid for sells below. And I think you started closing below pretty bearish, right? You had like a 5 closure below here, or like wherever it was, and you just like continuation to go down. Like understanding that there's a high chance, right? This is liquidity for us to come down to grab liquidity, potentially to go up. So that's why we continued. That's why we took the sells to continue that bearish motion. But that's essentially the sell. Not too complex. Also broke it down last night, so anybody caught it, or if you just caught it with Don, right? W regardless. Yeah. Cool. To the 11 people who are here, we have about 5 minutes until we're going to start. Just waiting for, just wanting to start on time. Letting the people who have scheduled this exactly at 10:30 to come in and watch the streams begin. You want the music a bit quieter. Is it still too loud at the moment, Tom? I can try to turn it down. I mean, it's like literally as low as I can get it, basically. Oh, unless I... Okay, bear with. Music's gonna be loud for a while. But... Is that better, Tom? Alright, safe. Yeah, we also had a couple members who asked if I'm doing like one-to-ones, like an hour a week or something, but it's like I'd love to do that, but I literally, if I had the time and I wasn't doing like a full-time job, I'd offer that, right? I'd offer that for sure. Because then I can get to know all of you individually as well, like in terms of how you're trading, and then start mapping that to the things I'm doing as well, in terms of like that progress thing. But if I find time in the future, I'd like to do that, but at the moment I don't, so it's a little bit difficult. Yeah, I think we also might be welcoming a couple more people in the near future. But I think once we get to, I think I'm gonna cap it at 20 people. That's gonna be the maximum amount of people I'm gonna allow into the streams, at least for like the first 6 months, maybe 3 to 6 months, like maybe till like March next year or whatever. Because until then, I want to get used to, depending on how many people come to the Zooms, right? If it's like 4 or 5 people, then it's fine, or like even 7 or 8 people is fine. But once we get to like 20 people consistently on the streams, then it's like it's a little more difficult. But the impulsive leg that happened to the upside, which impulsive leg? Are you talking about this, or are you talking about something that's happened now? To believe that it's the start of the new upwards trend to continue up to. We'll break it down. At the moment, I'm not too sure because I haven't looked at the charts for a couple hours. But in general, there's a couple things I remember us wanting to, tap. So we'll have a look. starting in about 45 seconds. So yeah, I mean, monthly is still these two lines, right? Monthly is not changed at all. Still these two lines. You can put a third here if you want. Oops. But yeah, cool guys. I'm gonna get started. We have 15 people here. We have some boys on the Zoom, right? So welcome back. Obviously, we're here to do a breakdown, so I'm gonna get straight into it, and after that, everyone can ask questions. Priority to Zoom members, and then after that, you know, live the YouTube chat. But cool. So the monthly, we're still in this range, right? Understanding that we did, you know, break below, I would say maybe this level. Potentially got a fake out to come back up, but you did not break above 1991, indicating you don't have enough volume to continue, right? In that case, we're looking for, you know, liquidity to start driving to retest the highs, because the previous month closed above all 4 months, all the way till like past June, right? All the way to June's candle, we closed above all of that in terms of a wick, right? And also a closure above all of those. So I'm very bullish for the monthly, but I'm understanding that because we've closed respecting a range, there's a high chance that price can just continue to start driving down, right? But in general, right, because we're 15 days into November, any given point, this candle could flip, right? A monthly candle, you know, takes an entire month to print. So if towards the end of November, towards the end of this week, we start flipping, right? We might see a breakout this month, right? Maybe above 1991, which will be the first time we've ever broken out of this range. And then we might see more liquidity getting grabbed, or maybe this is enough liquidity for us to start retesting the highs. We don't know yet, right? But we'll just watch as price does that, and then we'll just kind of jump on that wave. In terms of the weekly, right? We are coming up for the week. Today was Wednesday, right? So we're halfway through the week, right? We have 2 days left. I would say that I'm going to move this level up to here, right, for the weekly, understanding that you have some sort of support here, some sort of like resistance, some support everywhere, you know, around these areas, and you close respecting 1931, right? You tapped into 1931, 1930, right? So it's various. And just looking left, right? What are we potentially mirroring, right? We're mirroring this push up, potentially somewhere towards here. We tapped into around 2009 sorts of areas, failed to break past, right? So we've come down, grabbed liquidity towards 1931, 1930 sorts of areas. And now if we start driving up, I'd imagine we probably have enough liquidity to continue up, right? So if that's the case, currently on the weekly, even though we closed bearish last week, I'm understanding that I'm actually, you know, I don't have as much of a bearish bias anymore, because we've tapped into those liquidity areas that I'm expecting. So at any given point, price has enough liquidity to start driving up based off of what happened in the past, right? Looking even slightly further left, you have sort of these vibes, right? In these cases, you kind of tapped even lower down towards these sorts of areas, but before you came down, right, you tapped into 2005, 2050, 2060 sorts of levels already. So because we haven't tapped into those areas yet, I'm not really expecting price to come down all the way back to 1890 for a rejection, right? So I would say I'm more bullish than bearish, right? So monthly is more bullish. Weekly is also kind of less bearish, not like fully bullish, but I'm understanding that at any given point you have enough liquidity, you're going to start flipping, but you will need to see that kind of breakout above the previous, which is around kind of like 1988, 1990 sorts of areas. All right, cool. Let's go towards the daily. So I've still highlighted these two zones as I'm, you know, relatively interested in what happened there, but this is what I'm more interested in, I would say. So these pushes here. So the daily, we're going to close, bearish, but respecting. I think this area right here, which is a pretty nice support. Let me just, findings. It's pretty solid right here, to be honest. Yeah, so 1953. Yeah, 1953 is pretty good. So we've closed bearish, respecting 1953. So now you could say we're back into this range, right? We're back into this range above here. You've broken above. These candles didn't, so you didn't drive. These, you know, as you were respecting 1931, you started closing above, and then you might start getting these drives back up to 1994, retesting the highs towards 2000 and whatever, right? So as that happens, we can take those buys going up, but we need to first analyze, is there any chance that price will need to grab liquidity on the daily, the 4 hour, or whatever it is, right? So we previously, yesterday, pushed up towards around 1970 sorts of areas. We then rejected, today's candle, we broke the highs and started coming down, but we didn't break below, 1953. And also most recently, we didn't break below 1958 in terms of a closure. So at any given point, get a celery, right? So if you guys are familiar with the playbook, it's just you have a bearish candle respecting, next candle bullish, gonna start doing something like this, right? Maybe after a bottom wick that breaks some of these lows, right? So just kind of respecting this range here. So any given point, you're respecting, you're in the next range, you're gonna fill the range, and I'm expecting every time you did that, you had something like in terms of like areas that you might fill. I mean, let's just draw it out. You have like these, right? These you kind of going up, these here, this one you gotta, let's say it's above here in general, let's say, right? If it's not above here, then it's probably above, like, yeah, where this green line is, right? So in this case, you probably, you want to come down maybe to these areas to grab liquidity. After that, you want to start retesting these areas. This one, you start retesting these areas as well, right? So generally, that's what I'm looking for. Bottom wicks wise, right, we get a closure above here. So any given point, price can come down, grab liquidity to continue upwards, right? In this case, we did close above after this liquidity. So if price just wants to start driving now, it can. Like nothing's going to stop it, right? But in the case that it needs to grab liquidity, where are we going to be looking for liquidity? Fuck you, Hus, right? Okay, so we're going to be looking for liquidity around these sorts of areas, I would say. I would say mainly based off of this wick. You have based off of these wicks. This was such a thick box. Okay, anyways, but I'm just gonna put a level here for now. Right, I'm gonna put it there. Understanding that 1947, right? You tapped into these sorts of areas previously. You tapped into these areas again after you had this, and then you had that bullish push up again afterwards. Previously here, it's not as good in terms of data. We've closed above 1953, so let's look for this, like bottom wick down towards these sorts of areas, right? 1940. So you might even get it even further down towards these sorts of areas, but we'll see it. We'll see it as that kind of prints. Do we have any other? I don't think we do. But 1940, we obviously didn't tap here, but 1940 is the bottom of this range, right? You've tapped into here. Any given point, you do have enough liquidity to drive. If you are going to grab more liquidity, it can come down to 1947 or 1940, 1939 sorts of areas, and then that will be a rejection to go up, because I'm pretty bullish for the daily, right? Understanding that the celery to go up is pretty clean. So is it going to be bearish? No, I think it looks like, right, what price printed today looks to be more bullish. And today's move was, I would say, more of a daily liquidity grab, or a weekly maybe liquidity grab or whatever. But let's go to the 4 hour now. 4 hour, I'm understanding you have something like this, right? You came down from here, you broke below, so you filled the range down towards these sorts of areas, 1955, 1953, these sorts of areas, right? You've closed below. I'm expecting this candle to continue pushing down for the short term. At any given point, you could start flipping bullish because you have closed, right? You have closed above most recent being this, but also this, right? This is structure that you've broken. So now this, what you've just created, could be a higher high, sorry, a higher low, a higher high, and now this could be a higher low. Any given point, you can start flipping. So the buys obviously at 1947, a little bit far away, but if it does come down to there, I'm still looking for a buy. It's a little bit far, but we'll have a look in terms of the smaller time frame to see what's happening, right? Because so in terms of the 4 hour, we closed below 1962. So let's look into our box over here, right? What happened the last time we closed below from 1962 after grabbing liquidity towards 1931 sorts of areas, 1935. In these cases, you just started driving up, but cool. Let's say you started closing below again, liquidity towards 1955 potentially. You haven't really tapped into 1975, have you? Let's have a look. 1975, you have, right? 1975. So cool. We could be mirroring, instead of this box being this big now, we could be mirroring this. This part of the move, right? And what does this look like? this looks like we tapped into 1975, we failed to break above, so we came down to grab more liquidity, right? As simple as that. And as that's creating liquidity, right, you are respecting potentially 1959 sorts of areas. So let's move this down a little bit to respect this range. So let's see if there's an actual range around here, or if, you know, I'm just making shit up. Around here, maybe like here, these sorts of areas. Okay, I'm gonna move this ever so slightly lower towards 1960. There also is a quite nice area at 1961. Let me just see if I can explain it. Okay, yeah, I've explained it to myself in that 1 second. Cool. Approximately around 1961.2 is where my level is at. So your 4 hour actually closed respecting in that case, right? So if that's where it is, and it's closing respecting, right? At any given point, you know, you could start driving up, but you need that liquidity, right? So you're respecting on this candle, next candle, grab liquidity. You didn't close below 1959 or whatever. So at any given point, you could grab liquidity towards here. So actually, I'm going to move. I'm going to just keep these for now, right? I'll put another one towards here. So I'm just going to see where that is in terms of the range, right? It's pretty clean here. Bottom of the range. Bottom of the range is always nice. I'm going to move this ever so slightly up. So seems to be a pretty nice bottom of the range for us. Right, I'm going to move this up to here actually, guys. So around 1955 is where I'm looking for buys. If it does break the low, it's not bad as well. Let's have a look on the hourly. Hourly's also coming down, right? You potentially had like a bearish, you know, closure, and then you had, you know, some liquidity to be grabbed to potentially come down further. But you are respecting 1957 still. Any given point, let's look back into our box. 1957, are we respecting on the hourly? 957, looks like we are, right? 1957 is down here. So if you continue to respect 1957, come down to grab liquidity at 1955, I will be looking for a buy. All right, so literally now we've moved this box to here. That's exactly what we're looking for, right? So if you're respecting 1957, 1958, right? 1957 is around here. So if you're respecting that, and then you get a candle which kind of just, you know, wicks down to 1955, I'll be looking for those buys to go up, right? This is very specific today because it's relatively clearer, I would say. You have already tapped, so at any given point you could just, you know, continue to drive without grabbing liquidity. And in that case, I'll be looking for buys above. I think today is, well, tomorrow will be a relatively good day for buys above. And that's because you have grabbed liquidity. So when you do get closures above certain ranges, I'm expecting you to just start driving back up. So let's have a look at where we can get those buys. These are not bad. Okay, I'm going to look for buys above 1965. Oops. Okay, so buys above. So the buys above reasoning, right, being you are currently, right, you kind of closed very bullish previously, continue to go up, you trickled up, right? Understanding that if you wanted to continue pushing up, you need liquidity. So this is your liquidity grab, right? You started rejecting in 1955. So if you didn't get into the buys this time, cool. If it does come back down, maybe, right? But it depends on structure. If price starts closing like this and then wicks, cool, I'll look for that buy up, right? But if price starts doing this, right, and then just trickling down, I can't look for the buy here. Instead, I'll probably be looking for the buy slightly lower, the break of these lows. But I'm understanding there's all clean traffic down to these areas. So I might be looking for this buy around here to start retesting. But at that point, you might be relatively bearish. So what you're looking for in terms of the move might only be something like this. So if you get this coming down, I might only be looking for a small part of this before you come down. So this part of the move. But yeah, that's what I would say in terms of that. But if you do start closing above, so in the case where you don't come back to here, right, and you just start pushing up now, do something like this, I'll be looking for a bottom wick and then start pushing up, right? I'll probably look for a break of these highs. I'll look for the bottom wick, and then if you do get a bottom wick breaking certain lows or whatever, then I'll put a buy stop here, and then we'll continue to go up, right? And the range you're looking to fill is probably towards like 1970. So that's a 50 pip range, right? It's pretty strong. And then obviously if you do get any closures above here, I'm assuming you just want to drive straight up. So in that case, I'll probably just look for buys off the rip above 69, because every time you closed above, you just started ripping. This is relatively clean traffic here as well. You have really clean traffic here, right? You have a wick rejection here, so any given time price just starts pushing up, right? Look at these, you just start pushing. So buys above here off the rip for me based on current price, right? So there's quite a few different, oh no, you don't want to move that. Okay. But yes, okay, sells. Can you get sells? I'm not looking for any sells, unfortunately, because at any given point, I'm understanding that my sells are very far away. You don't even want to know. My sells are like down here. You know, like if you start breaking below all of this structure, then cool, right? Or if you get something where you start doing this, you break these highs, and you start coming up again without breaking these lows, right? You just start coming up, and then you're doing this, you break all these highs, and then you start flipping to come down. I look for these sells here, like a sell stop around here, because you know you've created that high, you created a higher low, higher high, and you created a lower low, a lower high. So once you break that lower low, you're expecting price to start coming down, and this is going to be in the form of liquidity grab, fake out, or whatever it is, and you're going to start coming down. So that's how I can get sells in these sorts of ranges. But as price looks currently, I can't get any sells. Even if it starts breaking below here, you know, if I just go back to the daily chart, right, it's showing that at any given point it can break the lows, because I'm looking for those buys at these sorts of areas. If it breaks the lows then flips up, that's perfect, right? So the buys are the sells below, you know, the lows are difficult, I would say. So you will see that I actually only have 4 buy levels today. The buy at 47 is a little bit difficult, maybe because you're very far away. Oh, by far away I mean like 120 pips, but you do also have news tomorrow, right? Any given point, with price currently respecting this level that I have on the 4 hour, and the 1 hour is also respecting 57, you might not be able to get a buy around 55, right? If price just starts pushing down, right? How can you get buys at 47? So if you get candles closing like this, so for example, you know, you have a bullish candle closing like this, right? And then your next candle starts breaking the lows, cool, that's all fine, right? But let's say you have another candle kind of like respecting here still. Actually, I'm gonna say you probably want to respect 19, this area here, right? So in that case, if you then get a bullish candle like this, right? Not even that steep of a wick, but if you then get a candle which is news and it pushes down to these areas, I'll look for a buy, right? But if it doesn't come down to these areas, then I'll look for a flip to go up. So if it doesn't tap, right? If it taps, cool, I'll look for the wick. If it doesn't tap, I'll look for, you know, like, but it has to break these lows, And then once it does, and then you are expecting price to potentially start moving up with daily, with the weekly, with the monthly. So I'll take the flip here and start going up. But yes, that is the situation there. I think it makes quite a lot of sense. So this is the buy. I think you'll only reach there if you kind of have news waking down to those areas. You're quite far away. I'm not expecting you to come all the way back down. But I am understanding that every single time you wanted to push back up, like, all right, so the 47, right? Look at this. You tapped into these areas, you pushed up, you haven't filled up to like 1987 yet, right? Any given point, you could come back down to here, grab liquidity to go up, right? That's what you did here. All of these times as well, right? 47, not here, sorry. Here you grabbed liquidity. Oh my God, keep moving that. But yeah, so multiple buy opportunities tomorrow. I think it should be a pretty good day. if you do get some sells, if structure starts to change and you start breaking the highs and you start breaking the lows, yeah, you can start taking sells. But until that happens, I can't do anything. But yes, that is the analysis for today. It's not too long, actually. I think it's relatively similar. Actually, I'm going to do a rating on every single analysis in terms of how easy price is to read today. I would say today is also around a 7.5 out of 10. Not the easiest, right? It's still, there are still areas which are slightly more difficult in terms of like, you know, price not closing exactly at specific areas, so you could have different opinions in terms of where your levels are, right? But generally, the higher time frames show you very clear direction. So that's why it's around a 7.5. So if you're doing analysis by yourself, right, understand that I've given it a rating of 7.5, right? You maybe have a different opinion, but you know, that's just what I think. So cool. I'm gonna unmute the boys, and we'll see what they have to say. Welcome back, squad.
Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Good.
Yeah, have you done your analysis already for the night?
No, I haven't done it. I only do it in the mornings.
Okay, yeah, fair. Do you trade Asian?
No.
Yeah, fair. I can't trade Asian. Like, I need to work, so.
Yeah, exactly. In the UK, it says like agents or what?
Yeah, exactly.
One for us, so.
Yeah. Hey, Connor, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, not bad. Why were you just? Well, I forgot why you weren't here yesterday. You were just on the YouTube live.
I just had some other stuff to do, and I wasn't really trading this past week, so
Fair.
just trying to hop on to get the first 30 minutes, but couldn't really listen to the questions that were hot.
Are you on Don Signals as well?
Not on the signals, no, but I try to watch the stream like right when he like starts streaming, like right when I'm waking up. So
Yeah.
I usually just wake up, and that's the first thing I do.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I did have a little bit of different levels than you though, but they were based on more higher time frames,
Yeah.
I guess.
What are your levels?
I had one at like 1950, one at like 1962.
1962. Yeah, I think 1962. We like on the 4 hour. I think it's pretty clean on 1962. But I'm just looking like 1962 compared to like 1961. It's like it's a little bit messy in this whole area, right? Which is what I'm not liking as much. But I would say generally 1962, 1961, they're both kind of valid in terms of what you're looking for. It's just there's like a whole argument like, you know, is your level at 1962 stronger than the level at 1959? Like this entire range, like from here, I would say all the way to here could be one level, which is slightly annoying, right? Because if you just go past all of this, like you have, you know, support, resistance all in this area. But then there's the whole like, you know, if you do zoom into the 30-minute, you'll actually see what that potential level is, and like, you know, maybe it's not 1961, maybe it is 1962 towards here, but like where is it? it's not too clear, which is why I would say that's probably why the rating I had for today's analysis in terms of difficulty is slightly, it's still high, but like, yeah, I just like this structure. This here looks clean to me. This looks clean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And this looks to be pretty clean in terms of like, even this tiny breakout, you fill the range, right? And these candles you broke up, filled the range. These broke up, filled the range, respected. Yeah, when you get to here, it's a little bit messy. But yeah, I'm liking this level. But yeah, I think we had 1962 like for the past like 3-4 days, I think. So it's still a valid level, I would say. And in terms of like current price, 1962 does look a little bit cleaner. But yeah. Hey Johnny, how you doing?
Did you trade today?
Oh yeah, I took many trades today. Well, not many, right? I just took a couple of trades. Ended up having a break-even day. So let me explain a couple of the trades, I guess. So I'm testing certain things as well currently, but so I took the flip of this news candle, right? I said if we break the highs, I'm going to be looking for the break of the lows to continue down. I wanted a bit more of an advantage point, and a smaller stop, so I just basically did a sell once this flipped, this 30-minute flip, because I'm understanding that you closed below this area, right? You had a bullish 2 dojis, right? You broke these highs and then you broke the highs again, started flipping. I'm understanding that I'm probably break even once you get down to here, which is like 20 pips or whatever. And I think I closed at like 26 or something pips. So not too many. I could have held probably, but it wasn't bad. And then I took Don's sells as well, because you started breaking through all of this range, clean traffic. Like once you passed like these areas, it was relatively clean traffic. So we're hoping to get into. I think we got sells around like here. The 5, I would say you closed. After grabbing this liquidity, this tiny push wasn't going to be it, right? We were expecting liquidity to be grabbed at like these sorts of levels around like 57 or whatever it was. So taking the sells, I was like hoping it would come down to those areas. And then I actually took a sell like right at the tip here. I took a sell like literally here. Why? So I actually ended up like hitting break even there. Well, not break even. I think like minus 20 pips or something. But I took a sell here because you started breaking below. Where was it? Where are the wicks? Give me the wicks. Yeah, breaking below these wicks here. So if you had a level here, right, at like 57, you started breaking these wicks. I was assuming that, okay, cool, you want to start potentially filling the next range. I guess what I didn't account for and what I should have waited for is probably a break of these wicks here, because that's your next range to go down. You start breaking these wicks, like this wick specifically and this wick specifically. If you start breaking these wicks, cool, you have clean traffic come down, but you have some sort of play around here. So I think in hindsight that's probably not a good position to test out, but I had another pineapple, I had like multiple pineapples, so I exited around like near just like a small loss. So yeah, those are my trades, and I ended up being break even for the day. But yeah, not bad overall in terms of like price action. It's a pretty good day.
Yeah, nice. I have a question about one of the trades I took today.
Yeah, your
So,
trades or Don's one?
Yeah,
Okay.
one that I took today. So if you look on the 15,
Yep.
it was at around quarter to 4 UK time.
So here.
Yeah. Basically, I saw there was a level at 1962. We were heavily bearish,
Yeah.
and then we just started like hit a certain level, and then started coming back up.
Yeah.
And I was expecting some sort of like liquidity to be grabbed, a bit more structure to be formed at the lows before we started coming up.
Yeah.
And then with that in mind, I was looking for sells at any sort of resistance or next range up.
Yeah.
We took sales at this sort of 1962.1 area,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then another at 1963.8. That was the top of the 15
around these areas. Yeah.
Especially when you had no bottom wick on the 15, and then
Yeah.
up with no bottom wicks on the 5.
Yeah.
Then when it got to that level, it was just sort of like raging for a little bit.
Yeah. It ranged for a while. Yeah.
And then I was unsure whether. So I also saw on the 5, it was like, you speak about this, the trickling up.
Yeah.
The candles are really small, but they're all bullish. I didn't think there was that much like liquidity being grabbed. Then we just had this massive move up, so I was looking for sales. But yeah, it just took a long time to play out, so I closed at break even.
Yeah. You closed around here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there something like that that I didn't see, or any particular reason why it started moving sideways there?
Yes. I would say generally, right? So just if you look at the 4 hour, right? Sorry, the 1 hour. The 1 hour is the clearest, I think. So your 1 hour, you broke the highs. It wasn't like the steepest break of the highs you've ever seen, right? Like this break of the highs was how many pips? Let's have a look. Like when we talk about break of the highs, especially with news, it only broke for like 15, 14 pips, right? So we were expecting a much steeper break of the highs around like these sorts of areas, 79, 78, and then a flip to start coming down to grab liquidity to start going back up, right? So because you got a really small liquidity grab, maybe you wouldn't be able to drive as far, right? So we're still expecting, you know, price to come down to grab liquidity to go up, but you also, after this hourly closure, you close basically respecting here, 1957. You see this? So at that point, right, my sells don't make sense anymore, right? Because I got into the sell before the hourly close, as it was like at the bottom of the wick, right? So I got the sells there, but as it closed here, it actually didn't make any more sense. And it's actually very difficult for price to come back into that range because like these sorts of areas, because you've closed respecting, right? Indicating that this liquidity wasn't enough for you to break past 57. Any given point, you're actually going to have more of a retracement, and you like. I was assuming you'd probably start ranging above, you know, at around 62 to 65 sorts of areas around here again before you're able to potentially grab more liquidity to go up. But what you ended up doing, I guess, was just you traced up to here. You had no bottom wicks, whatever. I would have taken that trade. That trade is fine. No bottom wick on the 15. You tapped into these areas. Potentially, I would have looked for the top of this range for entries. So where your for 63 was pretty good, I would say. And I would just be patient with that. Like you need to understand that generally price is very bearish, right? Even if you do want to start pushing back up, right, you're going to need to grab some level of liquidity, which is outside of these ranges. And like, obviously you will need to wait for price to do some like structure and whatever, right? So for example, if you get like range around here, you're going to need to wait for liquidity down here if you want to push up, right? So you grab liquidity, you didn't push up, cool, right? But that's what you're looking for, like, because that's the move you're predicting, right?
Yeah.
So I would say the move and the ideal was right. The only part of it that like you have a pretty good, you have a pretty good position around here. If it wants to start breaking above, right, cool, it will. Like if it wanted to, it will do something like this, right? It'll just start going back up, but then once you see this sort of structure, right, you're understanding it needs to grab liquidity to go up, right? And then at this point I would look to go break even, instead of when it's like still all the way around here, because you technically haven't done anything. And that's a difficult step, because like you're in a trade, right? Obviously there's some emotion behind, like, oh, I don't want to sit in drawdown for too long, but it's just ranging like this. And then I would say when it's doing something like this, it's actually good. It's indicating, right? For example, when you're in a sell or in a buy, right? It's indicating you don't have enough liquidity to go in any direction. So if, for example, in this case, you're looking for sells, if it does break the highs, right? What you're then looking for is potentially, a break-even trade or a continuation down, and you maybe stop loss to break even once you hit these, depending on how the structure looks, right? The other option is if it does something like this, and then it starts coming down first, then stops to break even already, because at any given point it can start going up, right? So those are the kind of multiple scenarios that you can have. I would say regardless of what it is, you'll still be able to go break even at like, this level. And if it does tap you out at like break even, that's fine, but you have that advantage point, right? And it hasn't tapped your advantage point, so just I would say be more patient with it. But it's a difficult thing. Like a lot of the times I'm not patient with it as well.
Yeah, and especially with the 1 hour close as well.
Yeah.
Back into that range.
Yeah, especially which is why, like, for this sell here, I literally got in, like, I even got slipped, I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure I got like below the bottom wick, and I took like pineapples here, ended up closing around like these sorts of areas here. But that's basically it. Yeah, no worries. I think generally it's a valid thing. I don't know why Wix kept talking about like, oh, we're gonna go up in terms of like the daily flipping and everything.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I was looking at it, right? I was looking at, sure, the daily might flip here, and like you could see a drive up because you tapped in liquidity start going up, but with how it looked, like especially with the hourly closure, like here, and you have this hourly closure which is very bullish, right? But you still respected here. You didn't close like if it wanted to start driving up, you'll get like closures above here because it's gonna be you have a lot of volume here. It's gonna just start going up, right? And start pushing above, but you started slowing down. So any given point, it just kind of shows me that you probably need more liquidity to start going up.
Yeah, that's a good point there. That you mentioned. It's like the idea of sort of having trust in your own analysis as well.
Yeah.
Because like, something like that can throw you off so much when like a great trader can say something.
Yeah.
Then, to you it's like, oh, you're thinking something else, so it's throwing you off what you originally thought.
Yeah, I think there's multiple levels to it as well. Like one is, for example, it's pushing. There's a lot of, like, I'd say the easier level is like, for example, if it was ranging, right? If you're ranging, then it's like, cool, you're still sitting in maybe a bit of drawdown, but it's like kind of sometimes in profit, sometimes in drawdown, but overall it hasn't done anything, right? So that's, I would say, level 1 or maybe level 2. The one step above is like when price is actually moving and you're in drawdown, how do you manage that? Like, for example, I was in the trade here, right? As it's pushing up, what am I thinking, right? I'm looking at, okay, cool. We didn't break below here. Last time we wanted to break below, we started grabbing liquidity here. So my stop loss was above all of these highs. I was looking for a trade here, and I was looking for trades around here. So that's what I'm thinking about, right? But then executing it is like another matter. And then like, I was sitting in like 4K drawdown. And I was just like, okay, cool. If price taps me out, it taps me out. Pretty sick. But at the end, right, it just like the analysis plays out, or like, the risk management plays out.
Yeah.
Oh, Jacob's here as well. Jacob, why do you have 2 things? I don't know which one to mute, man.
I'm driving right now, bro.
Okay. Just stay safe, man. Don't crash.
I'm not okay.
Yeah, please don't crash. Jesus. Yeah. Any other questions, Johnny? Any questions?
I mean, I did actually have a trade today. It was 1 pip or something profit. I don't know.
Oh, lovely.
Something. It was the 15 after news.
Like this.
Yeah, broke into here, and I went, oh great, it's just broken into another range. I'll take the 20 pips down to 62.
Yeah. Started going up.
It went up. I'm kind of just, I was like, if it wasn't just after news, I would have like 100% pineappled.
Yeah.
But then, because I was like, it could just be a retracement after news. I'm not going to do it.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then,
I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, as it came up that far, I was like, this bad.
Yeah.
But
So,
then, it came back down a bit. It went into like 10 pips profit, and then I went, I'll move to break even, and then it just came back up on the next candle.
yeah. So I'm pretty sure your trade is exactly what Janez took as well. And Janez got stopped out here at the top.
I didn't get stopped out there.
Yeah, no, you got like break even, right? But he got stopped out.
Because I had my stops were above the last 5 the last 5 candle of the 15. No, down 1.
Oh, this one, okay.
Yeah.
I think
it never broke those.
Yeah, fair. Actually,
It's just-
I don't think
like
Janez got
moved
stopped
it to
out. He actually just
break
closed
even
off
too
the
early.
trade. But I think the reasoning behind, like, I think that was fine as well, because essentially the 4-hour close is not the best in terms of like, oh yeah, it was closing bullish. You could at any given point just this was liquidity to start driving up, right? If you just look at these, right, these candles. But I think generally from last night's analysis, we were understanding that if it wants to grab liquidity, it probably needs to come down to like 50. I think our level was like 57 or something.
Yeah,
58.
it was 57.
Yeah, 57, right? So you rejected straight like right there. But like that's why taking the sells here, I was relatively more confident with it, because I'm understanding that here you probably don't have enough liquidity. And after you broke the highs and you're breaking the lows, it's probably gonna come down, at least filling like these 2 ranges, I would say, because you just trickled up, right? So if you trickled up, this is not enough liquidity for you to, like, all of this a liquidity here in this box is not enough for you to start driving up. So I'm expecting it to break these lows. But I would say, yeah, like how you managed it is completely fine. Because like, especially with like volume and news, like maybe over time you'll get more experience and you'll like understand it more, right? But at the same time, there's only that much experience you can have with, you know, trading at such a high volume environment. And like, if it moves, like you're suddenly down 60 pips and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I was like plus 25 pips like off rip, and then I was down like 40 or something, and then I was back up, and I was like, I having been in like 40 pips drawdown for 30 minutes, and I'm looking at a 5-minute time frame trade. I'm like, I'm just gonna go break even at this point. This isn't worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think a lot of the times as well, like, you know, peace of mind as well, right? Like if that trade is like you are kind of worried about it because there's a lot of volume, then if it's better for your psychology in terms of peace of mind, just close it off, right? Or just, you know, stops to break even more aggressively, especially with some days like news. Moving stops to break even aggressively is actually, you know, usually works out in your favor, because if it wants to drive, it will drive. And then when you are, you know, stops to break even, then it's just going to drive past, and then you're going to start, you know, trailing your stops or whatever, and then you just exit with some profits. Not all the profits, right? No, I'm pretty sure nobody caught this entire move, right, all the way from here to here for 180 pips.
Yeah, I mean, who would have had to take profit that low, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had my TP here, but like I was never going to hold there, right? I was going to hold for like 10 pips. But yeah.
The only thing I'm kind of disappointed I didn't see the buys, but that hourly candle at 1957.
The buys here?
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it now, it's like, yeah, that wick filled the whole range, and it respected the level. It's like,
I would say it's like the buys here, maybe you could have taken it. It's slightly difficult because the next hourly opening didn't really do anything in terms of like a bottom wick.
Oh wait, it was just
this
oh
one here.
yeah, that.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, no, I actually do remember that. I looked at that and went, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's no way I could
We
have
just
done
had
that
15 minutes of like,
yeah, like
I don't
literally,
know,
it did nothing
don't even
here.
know, yeah, and then, yeah, okay.
And then it spiked up, and then I took like a pineapple here, and it just continued going. I think I took like another pineapple here or something like here. But yeah, like as I was doing this, I was just like, what the fuck? Yeah, but like how the hourly
it's
opened
not
up.
like this hourly candle is gonna go crazy. I think.
With like this current one.
No, the one that sort of did nothing.
Oh yeah, like I thought it was gonna, because it didn't have a bottom wick, right? And I was expecting with such like high volume, you're gonna come down to fill this wick and then potentially come down. But then you also close at 57, so it's like.
But then I guess you could combine the two candles, right?
Yeah.
And read that, because that bottom wick happened right at the end of the last candle.
Yeah, if we zoom in to the 1 minute, we'll see it. Like the last like 1, 2, 3 minutes of that. Wait, no. You finished off here, right? Oh wait, here. Yeah, so like all of this, like your last 5 minutes just retraced, but like the previous move all the way down, you just closed like such an aggressive drive, and then like it just started reversing, which is, I guess, sometimes like liquidity is in the form of like, you know, you when it's nice to us, it'll do like, oh yeah, something like this, and then, you know, liquidity to go down, right? But in cases like this, you might get a top wick for the first candle, another break of the highs before coming down, right? But in cases like today, like this, what you just had was it created that liquidity in the candle previous to it. So it came down, grabbed the liquidity, and then started ranging here, and then started going up. So in this case, you have this liquidity grab ready to start going up, but you can't take it, right? Because you don't know if this is a liquidity grab or if this is just, you know, price wanting to continue down. Yeah. Another nuance there, but that's quite a complex one. Cool. Any chat questions? Santos. Oh, hey Santos. You have a strategy that works. Friend strategy that works as well. You like Don. Cool. I'm not going to read the rest. You like Don. It's enough for me. So right now, should I sell or wait till it drops to 1955 and then buy? It completely depends on market structure, man. Like, if you get a buy, like, you know, at these sorts of areas, cool. You know, understand where your advantage points are. You know, what happened before price came down to these areas. You have to understand all of it, right? But you can't just take a buy blindly here because you have already tapped it, right? If you come down, you start breaking these lows, you might be looking for sells to come down to 47, depending on structure. Okay, Santos, I'll read your question. I think it's too much to have. Is that too much? Or three? Okay, I would say just stick with one strategy until like you've mastered one strategy. I would say stick to one. If you understand one strategy completely and fully, right, and then you realize it's not profitable for you, then yeah, cool, switch. But like if it's profitable for you, why are you looking for other strategies as well? And that's like, you know, because you're looking at the markets at the same time. A lot of the strategies, like, they'll teach you different things, but it's still the same price action. And you're actually taking relatively similar trades. You just get slightly different entries, slightly different setups or whatever, right? But in terms of the actual price movement, it's basically the same. Yeah, cool. If we don't have any more questions, I'm probably going to end it around here, guys.
I had a quick one.
Yeah.
How would you journal? I was thinking about it today. If you could look at sort of around 12, 15. See, there's like two ranges at the top.
Yeah, here.
Yeah. I was sort of wondering, how would you journal trade, which is sort of respecting that first initial range, and you haven't broken any of the highs to come down, and then you got that aggressive move down, tapping into the low of the next range down. How would I journal that in terms of like a setup?
I took this trade. So I actually took the sell here. Are you looking for this?
I was actually looking for the I can move it on the table. Actually looking for more of like the buys at this level. We haven't got any liquidity up here.
Okay. I would say I've got something in there for pre-motion. Oh yeah, pre-motion, okay. Which is like the move that you need before the motion play, which is the liquidity or, you know, the actual drive. So pre-motion is a little bit it's flexible, right? Because sometimes you need to grab liquidity to grab liquidity, right? So which one is pre-motion? So use it like, you know, whatever makes the most sense to you. So for example, if you got the buys up to here, but this is liquidity to come down, and then this is liquidity to go up, then what is pre-motion? So I just kind of put everything as pre-motion until it's like you've tapped into these areas, and I looked for the buy to go up, and that's the move, that's the drive. Then I looked and then I put that as the motion.
Right. Yeah.
But like, feel free to rename it. Yeah. What was that, Connor?
I was just gonna say, if that happened, but say it only went down to like 62 and then was kind of ranging around there, you wouldn't really anticipate that next, like that was the next liquidity grab to go up. But since it went down to 55, it is visually looking like it's also liquidity, like a liquidity grab or another liquidity grab.
Yeah,
right? Is that what you're
exactly. Like if it started ranging here, right? What I would have been looking for is probably this. Like, you broke the highs, come down. Let's say you start ranging here, right? I'd be looking for the break of these to start coming down, because you haven't broke past all of this, and I needed to break this in order for us to start driving up. Our levels last night were like around 57, like I think like 57, like 58, 57 sorts of areas. So once you tap there, then I'm understanding, cool, higher time frame liquidity has been tapped. I am now good to cleared to go up, right? So now if you start getting these closures above, like especially above like 73, you're pretty strongly bullish, right? You've just created a lower, like a low, breaking all of these lows. So if you break the highs, you're pretty good to start going up. But along the way, depending on structure, you might even get these buys to go up, right? Because these are pretty clean clean traffic, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you might even get
On
some
that
nice bucket. Yeah.
12 o'clock one again.
Yeah.
So it's sort of similar to what you said, but it was just the flip. So if you zoom in a bit, you might be able to. Basically, what I was looking at for this one was like we had pretty nice structure coming up in like a range from here,
Yeah.
and then we got this high, and then we was just sort of like ranging. We didn't break any of the highs
Yeah.
up here, or even this one. So I was thinking, okay, well, it's unlikely that we'll just suddenly reverse now and come down.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if I can get some buys here, maybe we'll get at least this like retracement back up to this level.
Yeah.
But I was just unsure because we did get that closure on the 5 back in. Then I guess my sort of question would be like, at what level do you know like it's gonna sort of reject to come back up?
You don't. Is the simple answer. You don't know where it's gonna reject.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's just like because on the 5 it's messy, right? You don't know if it's going to be down here. You don't know if it's going to be here, right? So what I tend to take is not like the top or bottom of the 5 ranges. What I usually take is a breakout of the 5. So for example, here I have a level here. Right? If you're just looking at previous structure, right? Because let's say you were here, right? In terms of price, you kind of respected this level on the 5, right? Here you had a celery going up. Next candle came down. Okay, cool. You had no top wick here, indicating you literally don't have any liquidity to go up. So I was looking for liquidity grabs to start going up, right? And then once you had I think this no bottom wick was like, okay, fine. And then this breaking all of these highs. I think this was like the hourly just opened up, right? The hourly came down first, started creating a low. You broke the hourly highs to then break the hourly lows. Cool. I'm in, right? I'm in, and then once it tapped into these areas, I was like, yeah, cool. I'm done. And then I think this was like what? It wasn't that many pips. I think I took 13 or something. But after that, I just started rejecting, right? So
I was sort of looking for you know that bullish closure at the support there.
Yeah.
And then that really quick wick down. So I was sort of taking a similar position, but you were taking the sales down. I was just looking for after the sales down, getting that spike back up to retrace.
Yeah, you typically will get something when you fill the range, you'll probably fill the range again before making a decision, right? Especially if it's like a 5-minute liquidity grab, which this is. It's a very small liquidity grab, which didn't break any of the high, right?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Yeah.
But yeah, I literally took it off of the hourly flip. The hourly broke the highs and then back down, but you haven't broke all of this, so higher chance that you'll fill this range, but there's still some risk associated to it, right? Because generally you just trickled up at any given point. Once you start getting breakouts, you might start retracing and then looking for this liquidity grab. But I guess news happened, so news did it instead. But yeah. Cool, guys. I think that's gonna be it. Yeah, good session. And yes, I think I dropped this in the chat, but Sundays, I think I'm going to start doing it Psychology Sundays. I feel like I just want to dedicate some sort of time towards people being able to ask about, trading psychology, emotions, FOMO, and all of that shit, because it's a huge part of trading. So I'm going to start it's not like Sundays we can only talk about psychology, right? It's not like if you ask something about technical analysis, I'm going to ban you or whatever, but come to the streams with psychology questions, and if there aren't any, then we'll just do normal breakdown shit. But that's the overall thought process of that. So yeah, if you guys are, because I feel like everybody at some stage, even me now, right, I still have areas that I'm working on in terms of psychology, in terms of testing theories and how is that going to work in terms of overall trading profitability and stuff like that. So yeah, just gonna dedicate that one day towards more of those questions. But
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, amazing.
Thanks for the breakdown.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers for joining, guys. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the last of the week.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cheers.
See you guys.
Cheers.
for everybody on the live. Yeah, we're gonna end it here. But thank you very much for joining. Again, if for anybody who wants to join the members only kind of Zoom access and a bunch of other perks, right? Just make sure you know, like, just message me on EvolutionDVS on the Instagram, or drop me a message on the Discord. Spaces are filling up relatively quickly. I am capping it at 20 people, at least for the next like 3 to 6 months, just because, you know, I want to get used to handling 20 people, and then over time we'll expand as we go. But that's essentially the goal. So I guess first come, first served, right? But yes, you guys also heard Sundays are going to be more for psychology-based questions if you can, or if you need it to be. Still ask me any questions you like. But yeah, thank you very much for joining the streams, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the last breakdown of the week, and then after that it's Sunday. So cool. Have a good rest of the day, guys, and peace.